and the Speaker of the House, Yakubu Dogara. The presidential spokesman told his listeners that the president presided at the Federal Executive Council on Wednesday at a joint sitting with the Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari, the Ministers of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, and that of Budget and Planning, Udoma, on the country's economic situation, the progress on the 2017 budget, and liquidity issues. The president, said, has big ambitions for the country, driven by an intense desire to leave his mark on national affairs. This is as he said on his return from London. The National Assembly says it will give priority to legislations that will provide legal framework for the actualization of the bilateral agreement between Nigeria and Morocco. This is contained in a statement by the Special Assistant on Public Affairs to the Senate President, Mohammed Issa. According to the statement, the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, gave the assurance at separate meetings with President of Moroccan House of Councillors, Abdelhakim Ben Chamak, and President of the House of Representatives of Morocco, Habib El in Rabat. Senator Saraki recalled that during the recent state visit by the King of Morocco to Nigeria, several bilateral agreements were signed between the two countries in areas of agriculture, energy and gas, Trans-African Gas Pipeline Project, and many more. He expressed the belief that those agreements, particularly the Trans-African Gas Pipeline, if actualized, will be a big victory and catalyst of development, not only of the two countries, but of the entire African continent. The Senate President said Nigeria's National Assembly has resolved to give such legislations the required urgency for immediate takeoff and implementation of agreements that will benefit the nation's economy and strengthen cooperation with other African nations. On his part, the President of Councillors of Moroccan Parliament said Morocco recognizes and appreciates Nigeria's leading role in addressing the challenges facing Africa's development. The President of Councillors expressed the determination of Morocco to partner other African countries to address the continent's economic challenges. President of the House of Representatives, El Malki, revealed that because of the importance attached to the bilateral agreements with Nigeria, the King of Morocco had already set up a committee to oversee their implementations and expressed confidence that the visit by the Nigerian lawmakers was an indication that the convention will soon be a reality. The federal government has reiterated its commitment to protect and reward whistleblowers who provide information that leads to the recovery of stolen funds or assets. In a statement by the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, the minister said the federal government will protect the identity of all whistleblowers, whether in the public or the private sector, and also ensure that the information they provide is kept secret. The minister said for those who may have suffered any backlash as a result of the information they provide, their cases will be reviewed and appropriate mitigation actions taken. Lai Mohammed said the assurance followed the presentation made to the Presidential Asset Recovery Committee by concerned citizens and groups about the safety of whistleblowers. He maintained that whistleblowers have nothing to fear because the committee has put in place the necessary measures to safeguard those who gave useful information. The minister said that any whistleblower whose information leads to the recovery of up to 1 billion naira will receive 5% of the amount. Informants will receive 5% of the first 1 billion naira from 5 billion naira recovered and 4% of the remaining 4 billion naira. Any amount over 5 billion naira will attract a 2.5% reward. Meanwhile, in line with the federal government's policy on diversifying the economy and creating jobs through agriculture, Governor Willie Obiano of Anambra State says his administration is making exploit in this direction. Instead of this, at a lecture on economic potential of Anambra State.
programs in the state has created over 700 direct employment and about 5,200 indirect jobs. He maintained that the state has become a first-choice investment destination, attracting inflow of over $5.5 billion in 3 years.
These investments confirm to me that our dream belongs to the people, and they have taken total ownership of that. They also reconfirm to me that this administration is on the right track. Agriculture is #1 pillar of my blueprint.
In a lecture, Professor Chukuma Soludo identified the state as the largest economy in Nigeria after Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. The lecture was titled Anambra, an emerging startup state and our collective challenge.
A noteworthy feature of Anambra is that Anambra is a net exporter of capital. A large proportion of its most talented and skilled indigents live outside of the state, while a larger proportion of investable capital is deployed outside of the state. Poverty incidence in Anambra used to be the lowest in Nigeria, mainly because of the remittances coming from those who live outside of the state.
Governor Obiano took over the mantle of leadership in the state on March 17, 2014 on the platform of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. From the Governor's Lodge, Amobia, Benson Osadebe, NTA News.
And also related matters. Going for laboratory examination before treating malaria, experts say, is the best approach to attack the parasite. Uche Iwezo in this report looks at the seeming resistance to anti-malaria combination treatment.
Malaria is still one of the most devastating diseases, with over 400,000 deaths yearly, especially among children under age 5 in sub-Saharan Africa. Reducing the burden of malaria has been a global fight, which has led to the development of several anti-malaria drugs. The artemisinin combination therapies, ACTs, are the current World Health Organization's recommended frontline treatment against the parasites, and it has been working well in many parts of the world, including Nigeria, where the prevalence has dropped from 42% in 2010 to 27% in 2015. But recently, concern began to rise as to the efficacy of the drugs, as many patients like Chibuzor and Juliet have to repeat treatments.
I have treated malaria, it never worked, then I have to treat it again, then I have to repeat the test again. I'm experiencing that with him. About a week ago, I treated him with anti-malaria medication. So after, like a week after, he himself and the brother, they relapsed.
What could be responsible?
Malaria itself can reduce immunity, and when the immunity reduces, you can have other viral illnesses coexisting with malaria, and you might treat malaria and those other comorbid conditions, that is other diseases that are together with malaria, might still be there.
In Nigeria, we don't have any resistance to anti-malaria medicines. We monitor the efficacy of all anti-malaria medicines that are deployed for public use.
Other reasons medical experts say could be wrong treatment, not taking the right dosage, and of course, fake drugs.
I will advise that rapid diagnostic tests should be deployed in all our health facilities so that there can be points of care testing.
By and large, prevention, they say, is better than cure. Therefore, experts advise regular use of bed nets. Uche Iwezo, NTA News.
Still talking health, worried by the increasing rates of drug abuse among youth, Taraba State government has taken proactive steps to address the menace in schools and public places. Joseph Zana Gambo reports that wife of the state governor is spearheading a sensitization workshop in this regard.
The two-day sensitization workshop on strategic focus in building a society free from substance abuse was in association with Hope Afresh Foundation, the pet project of wife of the state governor, Anna Darius Ishaku. It started with road shows and rallies to the Taraba State University, Government Day Secondary School Mao Dasa, and culminated at the Jalingome Motor Park. The state deputy governor, Haruna Manu, while declaring the two-day workshop open, commended the governor's wife for personally spearheading what he termed as aggressive campaign against the use of illicit drugs by youth, which according to him forms the most productive segment of the society.
And we are ready as the executive to support you so that we can enact a bill.
And this fight honestly belongs to all of us. If we want it to succeed, all of us have to bring something to the table.
Several papers were presented by resource persons during the workshop in Jalingo. Joseph Zanagambo, NTA News.
Turning to agriculture, fertilizer is one of the most important and significant agricultural inputs after seed, which farmers depend on for increased yield. In spite of this, availability and utilization of the input remain a challenge in Nigeria. In this report, Musa Baba Aliyu takes a look at demand and supply, as well as utilization of fertilizer in Nigeria.
Inputs, especially fertilizer, are essential for satisfactory crop growth and critical to agricultural activities, especially in soil-degraded areas with low rainfall. Assessing the input has over the years been a source of concern to smallholder farmers. Apart from the scarcity of the product, high cost of the input is also a major challenge. Investigations show that an average farmer applies a minimum of 20 kilograms of fertilizer per hectare against the standard of 100 to 200 kilograms per hectare depending on the type of crop. Agriculturists believe that the more fertilizer employed in growing crops, the higher the yield.
Currently, Nigeria has one of the lowest rates of fertilizer application. And if you don't apply the right quantity from the onset, it affects your yield at the end of the day.
Steps taken by previous administrations to ensure that farmers, especially the smallholder ones, access the fertilizer at ease and at cheaper rate were undermined by corruption, smuggling, and diversion through the activities of middlemen.
We've had fertilizer before in bags of 35 kg. People have sold ashes and all kinds of chaff in the name of fertilizer, cheating farmers.
This also led to the collapse of almost all the indigenous blending plants in the country. In December 2016, Nigerian government and that of Morocco signed an agreement on the supply of phosphates, a major material for fertilizer production. Another agreement was also reached with local producers of the commodity on the production and supply of fertilizer at 5,500 naira.
We must thank Mr. President for the initiative as we are diversifying our economy, as we are looking at agriculture. The major input is fertilizer, and if this is handled, then the little addition on mechanization will follow.
So far, over 300,000 tons of the phosphate have arrived the country, and 11 blending plants have commenced production in 7 states.
We have also made it possible to have a lot of employment back on course. We have refurbished our plant. We are now in the course of business, and we are achieving maximum production capacity. So to us, that is a profit. The difference between the GS and this is farmers can buy whatever quantity of fertilizer he wants to buy. He's not limited to 2 bags. That's the advantage. And in terms of getting the price, he's getting the price, and government are saving 60 billion naira on this 1 million ton project.
MPK 2010 is the quality of the fertilizer being produced under the initiative based on the soil testing carried out by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
This is NTA International News from Nigeria's capital city of Abuja. The news will continue in just a moment after the break.
You are watching NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Welcome back. Time to join Uche Nwezo for highlights of stories trending around the globe.
A Saudi-led coalition fighting in Yemen has called the United Nations to place a strategic port under its supervision after a helicopter attack on a boatload of Somali refugees left 42 people dead. The Arab Alliance, which denied responsibility for the attack on refugees on Friday, said the initiative would facilitate the flow of humanitarian supplies to the Yemeni people, as well as end the use of ports for weapons smuggling and people trafficking. From Germany comes a report that Defense Minister Ursula rejected U.S. President Donald Trump's claim that Germany owes NATO and the United States vast sums of money for defense. She added that it was wrong to link the alliance's targets for members to spend 2% of their economic output on defense by 2024 solely to NATO. Trump had urged Germany and other NATO members to accelerate efforts to meet NATO's defense spending targets. And musical stars continued paying tribute to the influential performer Chuck Berry, who died at age 90. He was described as the greatest pure rock and roll writer who ever lived. Some others said he lit up their teenage years and blew life into their dreams of being musicians and performers. The guitarist and songwriter died on Saturday in the U.S. after a 7-decade career. Uche Nwezo, NTA News.
The legacy left behind by the military governor of the defunct Western region, General Adeyinka Adebayo, will always serve as a reference point for political leadership in the country. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, stated this after paying a condolence visit to the family of late General Adeyinka Adebayo in Lagos. Musa Toliat reports.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, who condoled with the widow of the late General Adebayo, Chief Mrs. Modupe Adebayo, and other members of the family, described the late elder statesman as an embodiment of true national unity and peaceful coexistence. He said the exemplary life of late General Adebayo is worthy of emulation by political office holders in the country today. The Information Minister also lauded the pivotal role played by the late former military governor of the defunct Western region in bringing about national reconciliation after the 1966 coup d'etat which swept away the former head of state, late General Agwin Rossi, and his predecessor in the defunct Western region, late Lieutenant Colonel Adekunle Faji.
He was very accommodating, very understanding, and quietly he was able to achieve what other people would achieve with a lot of noise.
Let's think about the country first and ourselves last. If we look after our country, we will be looked after.
Late General Adeyinka Adebayo will be buried on the 13th May 2017 in Ekiti State. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Nigeria back in the Confederation of African Football Executive Committee as Ahmad sends Issa Yato out of CAF presidential office. For details of these and other major sporting events within the outgone week, here is Chukunanto Nwabweze with Sports Roundup.
Thanks for joining us. Many sports enthusiasts classify it as the biggest story in the world of sports this past week. It's the unexpected emergence of Ahmad as the new president of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, ending Issa Hayatu's 29-year reign. The 57-year-old